Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic today is a message you probably don't want to hear. Let me just take a second and explain. Matter of fact, maybe I should take a couple of seconds. And I'll tell you how I got started in prophecy. I knocked on a guy's door selling heat smoke detectors in about 1976. And the guy says, well, I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. I'll watch your little film on home fire safety if you let me talk to you at the end. I said, deal. Because I thought, I'm a good salesman. Well, he didn't buy. But at the end of it, he started trying to lead me to the Lord. But of course, I was raised in church. I already knew that. But he handed me a tape called The Buzzards Are Coming by Pastor Jack Hiles of the Indianapolis Baptist Church. And it was talking about how buzzards, are accumulating in masses in the Valley of Jezreel. And for that reason, he thought the battle of Ezekiel 38 and 39 was very close. Well, I was shocked. You mean the Bible foretells the future? That got me hooked. I started studying, I started devouring the prophecies in the Bible. And now, of course, here I am, 50 some odd years later, and written these books and coming out with a new book. But my primary call is to bring you Dumitru Duduman's warning. And God has confirmed that to me through a couple of dreams. Today, I think I bring a really important message, but it's not a message that we really want to hear. But I think that once you see it, where we're going with this, you're going to say, yeah, not only do I need to hear this, but I need to send this to a lot of my friends. Okay. So the topic is the message you probably don't want to hear. This is Trump. Look, for thousands of years, communism has not worked. It's just communism, or the concept of communism, that has not worked. I tend to doubt it's, it's going to work this time. It's literally never worked. So I pulled down the full transcript of Zohran Mamdani's victory speech given the night after he won. Now, I'm not going to read all of it, but there's a couple of things I think I need to point out because of what it's doing first to New York City and to our nation. So he said, tonight, against all odds, we've grasped it. The future is in our hands, my friends. We have toppled a political dynasty. I would say it this way. We have toppled Christianity in America's largest city. I wish Edward Cuomo only the best in private life, but let tonight be the final time I utter his name. As we turn the page on politics that abandons the many and answers only to the few. In other words, get away from the republic that is a nation of laws and go to a nation of democracy where it's mob rule. Whatever the people want, they get. That's what he's saying. A mandate for a new kind of politics. That's right, it's called communism. A mandate for a city we can afford. You'll find out you can't afford it. And a mandate for government that delivers exactly that. We will fight. Now, you see that word fight? That was in Saul Alinsky's book, The Rules for Radicals. That's in Marxism. That's in communism. They use that word a lot because that's what they do. They fight. And who do they fight? They fight the Father. They fight Jesus. They fight Christianity and all holiness. That's what they fight. And I'm going to show you another word, struggle. They use that word fight and struggle a lot because that's what they're doing. They're fighting against the Lord of glory. Daniel 7:4 is talking about America. First was like a lion, that would be eagle or England, and then the eagle's wings, that would be America. I beheld till the wings there were plucked. In other words, the Christians were lifted up out of Western Europe and brought across the pond, across the Atlantic, and made to stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. I think you'd agree that America is probably the kindest-hearted nation on the earth. We give, we help. Now, this is my opinion, these next three paragraphs. In my opinion, our founding fathers were Christians, persecuted for their faith. The King of England, the leader of the Church of England, required attendance and many other things that our fathers did not find consistent with the Holy Scriptures. They left England and surrounding nations, brought by the Spirit of God, leading them to a new nation for the freedom to worship as they choose. Not the freedom from worship, but the freedom to worship as they found described in the Bible. That's the foundation of America that we have fallen from. Godless immigrants, my opinion, have destroyed the Christianity of America. That was their goal, and they've just about totally reached it. Gabriel, speaking to Dumitru Duduman August 3rd, 1984, said, this is Dumitru, if you are the angel of God, everything you tell me has to be written in the Bible. If it's not, then I can't tell the Americans. Gabriel said, tell them to read Jeremiah 51, verses 8 through 15. He names it the Mystery Babylon, the great adulteress, also Revelation chapter 18, the whole chapter. There he says clearly what will happen to America. Why did he name it the Mystery Babylon? Tell them, now this is important, all the nations of the world immigrated into America. That's what killed us. And America accepted them. We should have stopped them at the border. We should have been saying, if you're not a Christian, you can't come in. If you're in and you're not a Christian, we're going to help you leave. My opinion. America was a Christian nation. America accepted Buddha, the Devil Church, the Sodomite Church, the Mormon Church, and all kinds of wickedness. America was a Christian nation, meaning God started America to be a Christian nation. And instead of stopping them, they went after their gods. Because of this, he named it the Mystery Babylon. Now, back to Mamdani. It's about people, like the woman I met on the B-33 years ago who said to me, I used to love New York, but now it's just where I live. And it's about people like Richard, the taxi driver. I went on a 15-day hunger strike outside of City Hall, who still has to drive his cab 7 days a week. My brother, we are in City Hall now. This victory is for all of them, and it's for all of you. The more than 100,000 volunteers who built this campaign into an unstoppable force. Because of you, here it is, we will make this city one that working people can love and live in again. Well, if they were Christians, they wouldn't be complaining. It would be a wonderful place to live. With every door knocked, every petition signature earned, and every hard-earned conversation, you eroded the Christianity, the cynicism that has come to define our politics. Mamdani, his ultimate goal is to destroy Christianity. We're breathing in the air of a city that has been reborn. That's right, fallen from Jesus. Standing before you, I think of the words of Jawaharlal Nehru, if I'm pronouncing it right. Who cares if I'm not? The moment comes, but rarely in history, when we step out from the old to the new, when an age ends and the soul of a nation, long suppressed, finds utterance. So I looked up this guy's background. He was not a follower of a specific God. He was known to be an agnostic or atheist. He was critical of organized religion. He was a rationalist, a secularist who believed in human values and scientific thought were superior to religious dogma and superstition. He was open about his disbelief in God and viewed the organized religion as a negative force in society. So, the new mayor of our largest city is not only not a believer, he's a Muslim, with the written goal to destroy those that worship on Saturday first, and then those that worship on Sunday second. Their objective, if you're not a Muslim, kill them. I didn't say that. That's what their Quran says. I didn't bring up the verse, but we've had no speakers say that. I know that's true. An agenda that will freeze the rents for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants, make buses fast and free, and deliver universal child care across our city. Here we believe in standing up for those we love, whether you are an immigrant, a member of the trans community. Okay, so they are welcoming anything but Christianity. One of the many black women. Well, let me just tell you, in Christianity, red and white, red and yellow, black and white, they are precious in his sight. He made all the colors of the skin. It's been my experience when a colored person, red and yellow, black and white, has Jesus in their heart, they're a good person. Regardless of the color of their skin, if they don't, there's a question. Many times they're not very good. It is the Spirit of the Lord that puts the goodness in us. Many of the black women that Donald Trump has fired from a federal job, a single mom still waiting for the cost of groceries to go down, or anyone else with their back against the wall, your struggle, see, there's the word, struggle. That's a communist-used word. Your struggle is ours too. And we will build a city hall that stands steadfast alongside Jewish New Yorkers. No, he's lying. Muslims want to kill the Jews, and they openly say that, and does not waver in the fight against the scourge of anti-Semitism. More than 1 million Muslims know that they belong. So what's he doing? He's opening the door for more Muslims to cut in. Oh, but there's more. Not just in the 5 boroughs of the city, but in the halls of power. He wants to make Muslims take over the Christian nation and then eventually do jihad. Now, what's jihad? They say, not me, they say jihad is when your ankles are tied, your hands are tied behind you, or you're on your knees with a curved scimitar sword above you saying, either you accept Allah and his prophet Muhammad, or you're going to lose your head. That's the way the Muslims recruit. Sorry, I know. It's scary. Okay. But yeah, I could pull up that in the Quran and show you word for word, but I don't have time. I've got other things I got to do today. No more. Will New York be a city where you can traffic in Islamophobia and win an election? After all, in other words, you can't say or do anything against Islam. That's what he's saying. Of course, in an Islamic country, that's the law. After all, if anyone can show a nation betrayed by Donald Trump how to defeat him, it is the city that gave him rise, and if there is any way to terrify a despot, it is by dismantling the very conditions that allowed him to accumulate power. And what were those conditions? That would be capitalism. A man that went out and pulled his boots on, one boot at a time, and ascended up through the ranks by good hard work and the capitalism way. I think God bless Donald Trump, raised him up, and prepared him to do what he now does. This is not only how he stopped Trump, it's how he stopped the next one. So Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up. Okay, I'm sure Trump heard. Matter of fact, I heard him say he did hear what he said. We will hold bad landlords. Okay, what are bad landlords? These are people that have worked hard to get their position in life in a place to where they can own and rent out property, and that's how they make their living. And yes, some of them make a good living. But again, in capitalism, there's nothing wrong with making money. But in communism, I heard it said this way. The difference between capitalism and communism is this. Capitalism is the uneven distribution of wealth. Communism is the even distribution of poverty. Let me say it again. Capitalism is the uneven distribution of wealth. Communism is the even distribution of poverty. I might say poverty and misery, okay? It's never worked. It's not going to work. We'll hold bad landlords to account because the Donald Trumps of our city have grown far too comfortable taking advantage of their tenants. We will put it, well, wait a minute. If you can find a better deal at a better house, take it, okay? We will put an end to the culture of corruption that has allowed billionaires. Okay, so we want to do away with billionaires. Look, if you do away with billionaires, that's what you have. You have a nation of poverty. Billionaires like Trump to evade taxation and exploit tax breaks. We will stand along unions and expand labor protections because we know, just as Donald Trump does, that when working people have ironclad rights, the bosses who seek to extort them become very small indeed. Well, you know, if you go back and read in the Old Testament, they treated the people that worked for them, whether you want to call them employees or slaves or whatever, they treated them good. And they were supposed to. And whether that's employer and employee, whatever that relationship is, as Christians, we try to treat them good. As a matter of fact, you can call Prophecy Club. Joe answers the phone, 785-266-1112. Call it, I dare you. She started with Prophecy Club in the very first days, and she still works there. We have, by the way, also her son does, and her husband used to. It's a mark of a good organization when there's very little to no turnover. People ought to be happy. Ask Joe if she's happy. Ask her if her son is happy. Happy working in the ministry of the Prophecy Club. They're happy. That's the way it should be. New York will remain a city of immigrants, a city built by immigrants, powered by immigrants, and as of tonight, led by an immigrant. Well, I would like to see New York a city of Christians, built by Christians, powered by Christians, and as of tonight, all Christians. And I believe that's the way Jesus would want it too. What I'm trying to say is this guy is off his rocker. And he says, I'm a Muslim. I'm a democratic socialist. I don't think so. That's a nice sugar-coated word for it. The correct word is communist. He's a communist. And most damning of all, I refuse to apologize for any of this. That's right, because soon he'll be forcing his Islamic jihad on everybody. After all, that is what Revelation says is coming to America. Together, New York, we're going to freeze the rent together. New York, we're going to make buses fast and free together. New York, we're going to deliver universal child care. Yeah, well, good luck with that. It's never worked in over 1,000 years, and it's not going to work in New York either. It's just not going to work. It's a nice thing to think about, but it's just not going to work. Capitalism is the economic system based upon private ownership, free markets, and competition, while communism is a system of collective ownership where the state owns everything. The state tells people what they're going to make, what they're going to do, and it just never works. Matter of fact, what does work is I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the Republic. One of the things the Democrats are always saying is this democracy. It is not a democracy. It is a republic. A democracy is mob rule. Whatever the people vote, they get. A republic is a nation of laws, things like a constitution. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, Jesus, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah, well, a little hard to get justice in America right now. Consequently, a lot of our liberties have gone. But let me read for you a few things that God says about our nation. Remember, the angel said that the Revelation 18, the entire chapter, is talking about America. After these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power. And the earth was lightened with his glory. I think that as Michael is the angel over the Jews, children of Israel, I think this is the unnamed angel that is over America. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon, that would be America, Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils. I think it's talking about New York City, just about fully corrupt. Habitation of devils, the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. I saw on Fox News that there's 160 different languages spoken in New York City. And they're proud of that. They think that's really good. Well, again, it's not the different languages. If they were all under the same God, Jesus, we wouldn't have a problem. But the problem is we've let in other filthy people. And it's not just that they're criminals or that they're from insane asylums. The bottom line is we've gone after other gods. We've let people with other gods in, and we have gone after those gods, and consequently, our nation has fallen. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of fornication. What's that mean? It means all the nations have watched the filthy movies, heard the filthy music, read the filthy magazines and the filthy books, and listened to the lies, okay? We've corrupted the world. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication, that means the kings of the earth have gone away from Jesus, along as America has fallen away from Jesus. And the merchants of the earth have waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Okay, yeah, we have made the world rich. Now, there's more. Let me jump now to Jeremiah. For out of the north there cometh a nation against America, which shall make her land desolate. Now, what's desolate means? It means that when a nuclear bomb hits, what the fire doesn't destroy, the nuclear radiation makes it useless for, 10,000 years? I don't know. Desolate, and none shall dwell therein. Why? Radiation. They shall remove, they shall depart, both man and beast. Why is it that even beasts don't live in New York City and the other places where the bombs land in America? Radiation. All that found them devoured them. Their adversary says, we offend not, because they've sinned against the Lord, the habitation of justice, even the Lord, the hope of their fathers. In other words, it's saying this is a Christian nation that at one time followed Jesus, worshiped Jesus, but we don't offend because they've sinned against the Lord of glory. They've sinned against the God, the creator of all things, and which was the hope of their fathers. So it's saying that this was a Christian nation, but it has fallen. Remove out of the midst of Babylon. There's a time, not yet, but there's a time when the Holy Spirit is going to speak to Christians en masse. And you're going to see the boats fill up. If the airplanes are still flying, you'll see airplanes fill up. You'll see people, Christians, leaving America like rats leaving a sinking ship. For lo, I will raise to cause up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from where? From the north. Okay, go up north. What's north of America? Well, you would say Canada. Well, keep going. On north of Canada, that would be Russia, just like the other scriptures say. From the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrow shall be as a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. How do you do that? Because the Russians also have their own satellite system, and their missiles are very accurate. There's more. Reward her, even as she rewarded you. Now, who is the you? Who is the you? I've asked this to my Bible study, and I got almost no answers. I've been in other groups of people that don't know who the you is. The you is Christians. This is God speaking to America. Reward her, even as she rewarded you. Double and her double according to her works. In the cup that she has filled, fill to her double. Here is the answer. How much she has lived, glorified herself, and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. America's too big to fall. We're too strong to fall. Sorry, Charlie, that's not true. Therefore shall a plague come in one day, 1 hour, the other scriptures say. Death, mourning, and famine, as she shall be utterly burned with fire, with nuclear fire. For strong is the Lord God who judgeth her. Now, leave America. I'm going to show you some scary scriptures that tell you that there is a time, not yet, soon to come, when the Spirit of God is going to tell Christians to leave. Union invites New York City cops to join Houston PD following the New York City Mayor election. This is the Houston Police Department waving their hands saying, hey, New York police officers, we need officers in Houston where we will pay you well and respect you, and you can work and be happy. You know what? I think we're about to see a mass exodus of officers, not just police, but detectives, all kinds of things. Then let's jump to parents rush to pull kids from city schools as Zohran Mamdani wins New York City. Minutes after Zohran Mamdani's mayoral win, panicked New York parents started calling school consultants like it was a 5-alarm fire drill. Why? Within half an hour, they were saying, what do we got to do to get our kids out? Thousands of families are planning to leave the city for good, not just visiting away. Polls show 9% of the New York City residents plan to leave immediately, while another 25% are thinking about it, meaning the Christians, the good people in New York City, are getting out. And if I lived in New York City, I would do likewise. Now let's jump to the most important news. Is it time to get out of New York City? He says a 34-year-old radical Islamic communist that wasn't even a U.S. citizen a decade ago has now become the mayor of America's largest city. He said, you're about to see a mass exodus out of the Big Apple. Real estate agents are being bombarded with calls this morning from panicked New Yorkers desperate to flee after Zohran Mamdani's mayoral victory last week. They have seen a surge in calls from New Yorkers desperate. Nearly 1 million New Yorkers are preparing to flee the city. Yeah. So, the point is, I would say the point is, most important, you've got to ask Jesus into your heart. You've got to know that matter of fact, let me ask you a question. Let's say today, as you're driving home, you turn the same corner, same scenery, but somehow all of a sudden, the next thing you see is a grill about that wide and it's in your windshield, and somehow a big 18-wheeler is running you over. The next thing you wake up, you're at the pearly gates. Jesus says, "Why should I let you into my heaven?" What would you say? What would you say? Well, I've been a good person. Wouldn't get you in. Well, I went to church when I was a kid. Wouldn't work. What's the correct answer? Because I accepted you as my Lord and Savior. I would say when I was 9 years old. I asked Jesus into my heart. I felt that peace come to my heart. It doesn't take a whole lot. You can start with 4 words. Jesus, be my God. Jesus, forgive my sins. My opinion, I don't think the shutdown is going to get back up. I think we're going to move right on into a new system, a new currency, a new constitution. I think we're about to see some times that are tough, like we've never seen. Now's the time, if you are doing some kind of secret little sin, or if you have not asked Jesus into your heart, you better get after it. I remember this one lady kept coming to our monthly Prophecy Club meetings in Topeka, Kansas, for a couple of years. And we had a monthly meeting. One of these meetings I got up and, of course, always went through the opportunity to receive Jesus. And after we prayed, I said, "Now, who just asked Jesus into your heart for the first time?" We were all shocked because this was the first time this lady, she'd come to every one of the meetings for 2 or 3 years. All of a sudden, she raised her hand. First time she'd asked Jesus into her heart. Have you asked Jesus into your heart? If you haven't, you're in dangerous territory. Once your heart stops beating, the gig is up. It's over. Once you are flying through the heavens, whether you're going to heaven or whether you're flying through the soil going to hell, at that point, it's too late. You can't say, "Oh, oops, okay, I guess I see this is true. I guess I do see Jesus as Lord. I guess I better ask him into my heart." Too late. The judgment has been set. You got to ask now. You have to ask while your heart is still beating, while you're still breathing. If you don't want to lose your life's savings, if you have an IRA or a 401k, the thing to do is call 800-200-GOLD. 800-200-GOLD. These folks are Christians and they specialize in helping people not lose their life savings in the event of a stock market crash and things like that. Look, most of the 401ks, most of the IRAs are in paper, backed by paper. And as Lindsey Williams says, if it's in paper, it's worth the paper it's written on. You can lose it all. 1-800-200-GOLD. 800-200-GOLD. Hey, give them a call. Doesn't hurt. Doesn't cost you anything. See if they can give you some good advice. If you want to be on the end of making money, gold and silver is preserving your money. If you want to be on the end of making money, then you might want to call prophecyclubcrypto.com or actually go to it or call that number at the bottom right corner. Ask them about crypto if you're in the position where you can make money. When the suitcase nukes, I didn't say if, I said when the suitcase nukes go off, if you want your car to start, if you want your computers and your refrigerators and things like that, anything with a computer chip to work, you want to have one of these. From EMPShield.com. EMPShield.com. And they have videos up there. It takes about 10 minutes to put on. It's not complicated at all. And if you use the word prophecy, promo code prophecy, you get a $50 discount, and it helps your prophecy class.